Okay, so to finish off my cartoon jumble, I've brought in this background. I'll put it behind everything. There it is. And if I want the option of being able to color the line work, the best way to do that and still have all of my individual references is to turn off the background so that you only have, your black and white pixels from your different layers. Go to your very top layer, hold down the Option key. This is a really nice trick. I wish I knew it for the first 7 years I was an illustrator. And I've never found it published anywhere. I just discovered it, and it really works well. So you hold down Option, then you go to Layer, and then you say Merge Visible. So if you do Merge Visible without holding down Option, it will take all of your existing layers and compress them into one layer. Right? Makes sense. But if you hold down Option, it will make a copy of all of them onto one layer. So now I can turn off all of my reference layers, but still have them there to work on later if I want. And I have them all combined. Now that they're all combined, I want to delete all the white. And so to do that and to make it really clean, now everything's on one layer, I'm going to do some of those cleanup tricks. I'm going to go to Image Adjustment Levels. I'm going to exaggerate the whites and exaggerate the darks just a little bit so I don't have any gray. Then I'm going to use my lasso. I'm going to turn off contiguous and I'm going to select on the white and then I'm going to hit delete. And that should be pretty clean. Right? That works pretty well. Now I can hit Command D to deselect. And on one layer, I just have clean black line work, not on multiply mode, on normal mode. What's nice about that is I can put a new color texture behind it. Something like this. And I can use blending modes. And you see it will color them individually. And if I want to lighten the black line work, I want to use some of these lightening modes. But what if I wanted to only apply? That one looks pretty nice. Let's see. Yeah, I think I like the linear dodge. But I only want it to apply to my line work. So what can I do? Well, this is the beauty. Since I can select all the empty space around my line work, now that it's combined, I can also say Select Inverse up at the top, and this selects the line work. Then I can move that selection to this layer, and then I can duplicate it, Command J, which is basically make a cutout of just that layer. See, so it looks like that. And then I can put that on white. Looks pretty neat. I'm into that. I can put it on a background. If I rasterize the background, I can change it because the orange and orange doesn't work too well. So what if I do hue saturation and change it more to the blues, make it a lot brighter. And I can double click on it and use layer styles. Even overlay it with a color. So if I want it to be kind of pinkish, I can give it a slight pink and then take its opacity down. So it just has a little pink tone to it. I can give it a gradient. I can pick from multiple gradients. Let's do something like that, but let's make it radial so it comes out from the center. I play with its opacity, its size, even its blending mode. There are so many options, it's just ridiculous. And what I like about playing with layer styles is you can actually turn them on and off within the layer to see if they're actually improving it. And just like I did layer styles for these, I can play with opacity on each layer. Blending styles on each layer. Give a little texture to the background there. And I can play with layer styles on my Cartoon Jumble itself. I could give it a dark stroke like I did before, but now to the whole thing. I could give it a light stroke. I could give it a colored stroke. Play with its thickness or thinness. Or I could give it a soft edge glow that I can adjust, which can be nice, to just set it off very subtly. Or I can even give it a drop shadow, which is how you get all those kind of fancy icon effects. And I can choose the direction of the drop shadow, the spread, the distance, the softness, even the color. But often, there are too many things going on, so I don't think I need the drop shadow. Or if I do, I don't need it nearly as opaque. So let me make it a little bit closer. A little bit softer, a little bit spread out, and take its opacity down. All right, so I'm liking this. And it looks good close up. And all of this was just done with other people's pixels. But it'd be really hard for any of those image makers to identify their work in this. This is my work. This is my vision. So I'm going to save that as the PSD. So I'm updating my PSD to have all these options, right? But at any time, I can just turn these effects off and get back to my black. So this is a working file that has all those options in there. And then I'm going to save it as a JPEG. So I can upload it, but I'm going to change the name because now this is a color version. I have my black and white version and my color version, if you want to save multiples. And you're certainly welcome to save multiples. Now here, if I have it at full quality, it's over 5 megabytes. So I'm going to just move the quality down until it's lower than 5 megabytes. That's an 11. And I'll see it show up on the desktop. There it is. And now I can upload it. And then I'll organize it into my folder. So let me just quickly upload it. I go to PhotoBucket. I go to the right folder, Exercise 1, Cartoon Jumble. And I'm going to bring my finished JPEGs in, and then I'm going to title them. So now I'm in PhotoBucket. I'm going to drag and drop both my JPEGs, my black and white and my colored one, into the right folder, Exercise 1. Once they come in, I want to click them and title them. And because I have more than one image, I'll show you what we do. So here's my first image. I like it. Reminds me of when cartoon characters get in a fight. It's a big dust cloud. The word for that's actually a brouhaha in cartoon convention. Yeah, I'm a big fan of brouhaha aesthetics. I even had a show called Brouhaha. All right. So anything you put into PhotoBucket, you title first with SP17, and then I'm going to put my name. And then because I have multiple things I'm putting into one folder, I'm going to add a number. I want this one to show up first, so I say 1. And then the next one, I do the same thing, and then I'm going to say 2. And that will organize our folder for us because they're organized by title so that my stuff will always show up together. All right, now if you want to do something super duper special, this is usually something I reserve for Digital 2 people, but we're ahead of schedule. At least it's showing you these things. So what if I want it not to have a background at all? Let me turn off all my backgrounds, including my white. And I just want it to be this free-floating thing with the drop shadow. It's like a cloud. Now I want to save it as a different file type because I want to preserve the transparency. I don't want it to be a rectangle. I want it to be a free-floating kind of sticker. So I'm going to save it as a PNG file. And that's a compressed, single layer file type that takes up more memory than JPEG, but can still go online, and it will support transparency. So when I save that, just use all the defaults for PNG. It will show up on my desktop, I hope. Let's see, where'd it go? Oh, it's still saving. For some reason, Photoshop takes quite a while saving PNGs, which is another reason you should only use them when they actually have a purpose. Now, what is the difference between a PNG and a JPEG? Well, if I open up my blackline work as a JPEG, you'll notice it's all filled in with white, because a JPEG has to fill in a rectangle. But if I open up just with preview my PNG, it uses just the default gray background. So if I put this onto any website, whatever the background of the website is, it will show up behind my image. So it's like a sticker. What I like to use these images for, PNG images, is I'm going to actually shrink this image under Tools within Preview. This is a very simple image editing software. So I go to Adjust Size, and I'm going to shrink it to be, let's say 2 inches with locked proportion by whatever height, and only 100 pixels per inch. So I'm shrinking it quite a bit to only 120 kilobytes, where it was 15 megabytes as a PNG. And then I want to view it at actual size. So that's as big as it can get. Now, what is this good for? I'm going to select it all and copy it. This is perfect for an icon graphic. So I'm going to make my folder have this image as an icon graphic. So to do that, I select my folder, I right-click it and say Get Info. I click on the icon folder right here next to the name, and then I just paste in my cloud. And so now my folder is actually my cartoon jumble. So if you ever want to know how to customize your icons, some people really get into that. But that will make it even easier to find in the Documents folder. Okay, now it's still a folder, so it can still be opened up, and I can help you with that. That's a little extra. But I'm going to close my PSD now, save it. It has all those options in it. I'm going to close Photoshop, and now I just need to organize my files. So I open up my folder, I go to my exercises, I open up my cartoon jumble, and I can just drag everything into it, or I can organize it even more. And honestly, the more you organize, the easier your life will be. So if I want to save my references, I can. I have my color references, my black and white references. Then I have all of my different JPEGs and PSDs. And generally, because they look the same, I try to differentiate the JPEGs and the PNGs by using warm colors. And my working files, like my PSDs, by using cool colors. So those are all things going for online, but they're not the file I would go into if I wanted to work more on it. So I'll usually use blue or green to indicate my PSDs. But you can find your own way of working. And then because I make all of these videos, I'll also keep those in my folder too. Now, because these are the first videos I'm posting, I'll just remind you of that resource. So if you go to the Canvas page, you can get onto it.